Yeah.
Christmas is over. By the way, stop the music. We stopped the Christmas music. I'm talking to you, 105.7. It's done. I don't want to hear rocking around the Christmas tree. We've already rocked around the Christmas tree. Let's call it a day already.
Oh, wow.
But we're going to help you transition out through this weird week and keep you up to date on what's going on in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. A whole lot going on right now. So go ahead and get on your stretchy pants and strap in for the news. Developing tonight, the CDC is actually shortening the amount of time Americans need to isolate after testing positive for COVID or coming into close contact with someone who is positive. Now, the isolation time is being cut to 5 days rather than 10, and people exposed to the virus can leave quarantine after 5 days. Health officials say this keeps with growing evidence that COVID is most infectious in the 2 days before and 3 days after symptoms show. And now to the latest coronavirus numbers. Ohio reported 8,092 new cases today. That is below our 21-day average, which is close to 10,000. The state also reported fewer hospitalizations today, with 211. And for a closer look at each zip code in the Cleveland area, Case Western Reserve University created a Cleveland COVID-19 data tracker. Right now, it shows that the 404-102 is the worst hit zip code. And we do have a link now on WKYC.com. Now, today we did learn that hundreds of healthcare workers are sidelined just in one hospital system here due to positive COVID tests. Emma Henderson has where this leaves the hospitals.
Isabel, I spoke to Dr. Robin Stroysaker with the University Hospital System, and while we don't have exact numbers, she's the one who said they are facing hundreds of healthcare workers out due to those positive tests. Now, this is while they're seeing total numbers of COVID patients in their hospitals more than double what they've seen in any other peak, and while test positivity rates are skyrocketing to 40%, more than double what they've seen in other surges. This means those still working in hospitals are having to do more with fewer hands available and many sick patients.
And so everybody's, working in a little bit of a stretched way. So, I mean, they are really, really working hard. And, I think I speak for, all of my colleagues when I say, please take Omicron seriously.
Dr. Stroysaker says this high number of healthcare workers sick with COVID is happening at the same time they're also facing a healthcare worker labor shortage. Now, coming up at 6, while looking at these numbers, we have lots of people also looking for tests to check themselves. All of details on what we're finding that's available. Isabel?
All right, thanks, Emma. I know that is a nugget of information a lot of people are going to want to listen to. Thank you so much. Well, when it comes to those COVID tests, the Cleveland Public Library received a new shipment today, prompting some long lines of cars and backed up traffic around East 6th and Rockwell. Workers passed out the tests as residents drove up. The library says to check their website for when they get new shipments.
And now for your feed at 5. Omicron has been causing a spike in demand for vaccines in recent weeks as more Americans become eligible for booster shots. Shortages are popping up in cities all over the nation, while other vaccine sites have plenty of booster doses to dole out. Our January Keaton looks at some places that are harder hit.
According to the CDC, this past Thursday marked the highest single-day vaccination total in the U.S. since May, with over 2 million doses given out. The entire week total, 22% higher than the week before.
It's been going well. We've been seeing an increase in people coming in to get vaccinations, to get boosters, things of that nature.
The Biden administration urging eligible Americans to get booster shots to protect against the highly transmissible Omicron variant. But that is creating a surge in demand, leaving many folks struggling to find a booster site.
Never is supply an issue, but oftentimes it boils down to demand in a particular area. And in some locations, you might have the ability to schedule an appointment today, and others you might have to wait for us to send you a notification.
The increased demand for boosters also driven by clearer, more concerted messaging coming from public health agencies, stressing the need to be boosted amid Omicron. So when shortages occur,
that's when we look to other measures such as workplace clinics, working with schools, working with local church groups, whoever it may be.
The best advice? Check the website of your booster location of choice frequently. They may be out of boosters 1 minute, but have some the next. Also, be willing to travel a little further than your comfort zone to get a booster shot. And above all, be patient with vaccination and booster sites. They may be overwhelmed.
Our clinics have been packed lately with people getting boosters and their first and second doses. Just help us reduce the strain in the hospitals as they are seeing that strain during this holiday season.
Now, Geauga Public Health is trying to combat booster shortages by having a booster clinic. Now, if you're an adult, you can walk in, no appointment necessary. That's Monday through Friday from 9 to 3:30. If you're a child, ages 11 and under, you can walk in. That's 1 to 4 Monday and Friday. And again, that's Geauga Public Health. I put all this information on our website, WKYC.com. In Cleveland, January Keaton, 3 News.
Thanks, January. Due to rising COVID-19 cases in the area, there are some changes being made in the Cuyahoga County Public Library. Starting today, the library will now offer only curbside and drive-through service. The library's hours will stay the same and virtual programs will continue as scheduled, but the public will not be able to go inside. And the travel nightmare continues across the country as more than 6,000 flights were canceled or delayed over the weekend. This was due in part to airline employees contracting or being exposed to COVID. Yesterday alone, there were around 5,000 delays and more than 1,000 canceled flights, an issue that doesn't look like it's going to be ending anytime soon.
We've got crews out sick all over the place. I think that you have to fasten your seatbelts for New Year's. I think we're in store for more delays and more cancellations.
Under current CDC guidance, vaccinated airline workers who test positive must quarantine for 10 days. So it could be more than a week take more than a week to rebound from this Christmas travel chaos. Now, of course, we have new news coming from the CDC now saying that they are lowering that to 5 days. So that's obviously going to affect that. I assume that probably has a little something to do with it, maybe the fact that this lowered date that they have to get back by, because it's slowing down everything. And so we're making some adjustments.
Yeah, some worker shortages. And I know, too, speaking of travel specifically, my parents even experienced this just this weekend. They flew into Hopkins. They were flying out. And they said that their flight was delayed an hour or two because they actually didn't have a full airline staff.
Right.
So they actually had to go ahead, the gate agent, I believe, had to go ahead and try to call for another flight attendant to come and fully staff their plane. And until then, I mean, they were stuck on the plane, their bags were in the plane, so there was nothing they could do. So definitely seeing those delays here.
Thoughts and prayers for everyone traveling and for the people who are trying to take care of the people who are traveling. Just remember, these aren't the people who own Southwest Airlines. These are people who are like working a job and trying to make sure that you guys can get to your flights on time and safely. So just be patient, a little more patient with everybody if you can.
Yeah, be kind.
Right now.
Good messaging. All right, well, now to Maple Heights, where residents of this apartment building on Maple Park Drive are without a place to stay after a fire broke out early this morning. Dispatch received calls starting at 5:30 as several people began to jump from the lower balconies there. Luckily, no one was killed in the fire, but several people were injured. The inside, you can see here, heavily damaged from the fire. Scary to see some of this footage here. Red Cross now coming in to help.
Even though the fire was held into one of the units, we have a lot of heat and smoke spread throughout the building. So our goal right now is, with 16 units being displaced, having the Red Cross come in, assist them with food, clothing, and shelter, and things that they're going to need for the upcoming time.
Right now, the cause of the fire is still being investigated, but that fire captain says you should always make sure your smoke detectors work, and you should know your alternate exits as well. Tonight, we have a follow-up on the investigation into what caused a Lakewood parking garage to collapse last week. Mark Namick has an update and joins us live from Lakewood. Mark.
Good evening, Isabel. You remember last week, many people considered what happened here a Christmas miracle in that no one was injured when you look at all that rubble. The residents at the adjacent tower, and that's the Marine Towers West, were forced to evacuate for a week as people got in to check out the building. They were allowed to come back in on Christmas Eve. Now the cars, about 24, many of them trapped, some of them crushed, as we saw in video from last week. Now we reached out to the management company today that runs this to ask about the issue of whether or not construction was taking place during or prior to the collapse. That's something that the city of Lakewood has now said they believe was going on, but didn't have any permits or any other issues related to that. You know, right now it's just piles of rubble. It's pretty quiet. And we did see cars being driven out on the adjacent ramp today. The residents were not allowed to retrieve those cars, but the building management did. Now, I reached out to the city of Lakewood, and I talked to the chief of staff for Mayor Megan George. She was not available, but we also have requests in to take a look at inspection reports. And the one thing that this is triggering all along Edgewater Drive, and that is the question of how safe are our apartments. What are inspections like? This is a close-knit community known as the Gold Coast. A lot of people, you know, use it as for places to walk their dogs and get around, and everybody constantly stops us to ask, well, what do we know? There's a lot more to come. Everybody wants to know what happened here, and could it happen to them? Isabel?
Yeah, it's the big question. I think Mark will definitely keep you updated on this. Thank you so much for that report. Well, holiday celebrations continue this week as we are now in the second day of Kwanzaa. It's a 7-day-long celebration of Black history and culture. Each of the 7 days represents one of the principles of Kwanzaa. The 7 principles are unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Celebrations run through New Year's Day.
I agree with all of those virtues. Well, it's now been 2 days since Christmas, meaning we are now in the season of returning and exchanging gifts. And this year, a record number of returns are expected, thanks to a surge in online shopping. But the cost of a return is rising fast due to supply chain constraints. Now the average holiday return cost is 2/3 of the original price you paid. That's right. That includes the price of transportation, warehouses, and paying workers to process your item. Some brands sometimes offer a full refund and have you keep the item because that's cheaper than actually processing the return. That actually happened with something of mine. Recently, I tried to return something and they just said, just keep it. Never mind, just go ahead and keep it and we'll give you your money back. That's how desperate they are. I appreciate that. Thank you, Amazon. By the way, an estimated 5.8 billion tons of return packaging will end up in a landfill, folks, starting right now, generating 16 million tons of carbon dioxide. Can you believe that?
Yikes.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, it sounds like you are not contributing to that because you got to keep your item.
Thank you to me and Amazon for not contributing to that carbon dioxide issue because you just let me go ahead and keep it and keep my money. Everyone try and pull that scam. It's going to work out great.
Oh, man. Okay, don't take it. We'll see. We'll see. I maybe don't recommend trying that for everyone.
Yeah, mine was legit.
Yours is legit.
Yeah.
Don't do that for anything else. Okay, we'll still head on what's new. A hidden talent revealed. Okay, Kate Middleton just made her first public piano experience.
Wow.
More on how the Duchess learned to play. I did not know this in your pop break.
Interesting. Plus, don't get out your skis just yet, folks. Local resorts are still not open for this season. And it looks like the warmer weather is to blame. Speaking of people to blame, Matt, everyone blames you for everything all the time.
Yep, I had 2 ham sandwiches thrown at me today. It was great. I dodged them both. You got to be quick, especially when you're out on the sidewalk. Hi, everybody. Hope you had a nice weekend. Obviously, we're settling into another mild week. You can already tell outside. Your outdoor forecast, if you're planning on getting out in the town tonight, will be in the 40s. We have kind of a murky fog around, but that will clear. We have some perhaps accumulating snow tomorrow coming. We'll talk about that in your week ahead, including New Year's Eve and New Year's Day coming up.
as we get into these winter months, although maybe it doesn't feel very wintry.
No, not quite yet.
Right now, but we can pretend. There's still plenty of fun to be had here in Northeast Ohio, including the Cleveland Metro Park's toboggan shoots.
Have you been? They're amazing.
I have not been.
People were there enjoying some post-Christmas fun in Strongsville over the weekend. If you have not been, this is on Valley Parkway, and they have a 700-foot refrigerated ice chutes that you slide down in an old-time toboggan. Obviously, reservations are required, but snow, interestingly enough, is not.
All right, I know what I'm doing before work tomorrow. Sounds good. But meanwhile, local ski slopes, they are struggling with less than favorable conditions outside. We checked with local resorts, and so far, none of them, not Alpine Valley, Boston Mills, or Brandywine, have opened yet. They tried to open for the season about a week ago, but it's just too warm to get enough snow to stick to the slopes.
We did make those calls. I love that we called the places. We said, are you guys letting people ski yet? Because we care about the viewers. We want them to have a nice time.
We do, but how demoralizing is that for all those ski hills that are probably just looking up at the sky every day?
Just
Fingers
begging,
crossed.
please.
Yeah, Matt.
So Matt, we complain when it doesn't snow, obviously.
Yeah, right.
We complain when it does snow.
Right.
Yep, you sure do.
Which way are you going to disappoint us this week?
That's whatever you guys want. If you ask for something, no one's asked me for anything yet, you know. And I'm glad you pointed out that we did make those phone calls in advance to the ski resort. So the viewers don't have to. I know a lot of people probably, you know, uncharted some time tonight to make the snow ski resort
we did
calls.
that.
Yeah.
I tell you, we keep on giving. And you know what? If you want some snow, we've got some in the forecast. I'm sick of everyone asking. Tomorrow, we've got a little period of that. If you like the rain, we'll have that tomorrow as well. And hey, if you like fog, tonight's your night. We've got a little bit of everything for you. It's mild. Look at the fog outside. These are your visibilities in miles. Got some thick fog areas in Portage County stretching down to Wayne County. Improving conditions down to the south. You get up towards the lake, we've got reduced visibilities. Live look at our ODOT cams around town. These are your southern communities down towards Cuyahoga Falls, northern communities. Reduced visibility, but big deal, no. Just kind of murky outside. We had the rain earlier. Just a scattering of showers now. It's kind of drizzly outside, and that will continue over the next couple hours. A cold front will come in tonight. Kind of a complex setup here on the map, but as this cold front moves through, we've got a little bump in temps out ahead of it. You're seeing it now down towards areas of southern Ohio. So our temperatures will likely go up over the next couple hours. Then they'll come down and we'll clear this air mass out. So we'll get rid of the fog tonight. Tomorrow morning will be a fresh start. Look at the temps though. 30s out towards the east. Here's that warm frontal boundary. We're up near 60 right now in Mansfield. Again, this warm air is going to kind of slide throughout the evening. So it will be mild over the next couple hours. We're not really dealing with much cold, right? We haven't been, but some people are. Look up towards the north. They're in the teens. Minneapolis, as you get up into Canada, it gets even colder. This is a cold air mass, even by Canadian standards. We've had temperatures that were as low as minus 58 this morning in areas of Canada. That's without the wind chill. So the cold air is there. We're stuck in between, and an active storm track is usually running in between. That's exactly what we have. So we've got today's system. This will clear out as we go with your National Design hour-by-hour forecast. And then tomorrow we've got another system on the heels of that. So here's how tomorrow's going to play out. We'll start with clouds around, and then eventually we're going to bring some precip into this. Notice temperatures, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, near 40. Where's the snow going to be, right? Well, what happens is as this moisture comes in, it's going to fall into dry air. And remember, evaporation is a cooling process, so that will likely lower our temperatures as we get into the 4 or 5 o'clock hour. And that should be enough to change us over to a pretty decent wet snow for that evening commute. We could have some slick spots out there. Quick inch or two possible out of this. It'll be raining elsewhere. Eventually warm air will win out and the system will head out with a little bit of rain at the onset, but could have a slick evening rush hour tomorrow before the system clears on out. Models haven't had a good handle on this. This is the latest run in the last 5 minutes, saying perhaps a couple inches, 3, 4, 5 down to the south. I don't know if I buy that, but again, we could get a quick 1, 2, 3 inches of snow where that wet snow falls tomorrow. It's going to be a temperature profile story wherever you are. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. After that, we warm up on Wednesday. Thursday, couple showers around. At this point, New Year's Eve, looks like we're going to be near 50 degrees or so before temperatures start to cool down. Big pattern change for ski resorts takes place on Sunday. We'll talk more about that coming up in the next half hour.
Thanks, Matt. Good heads up. And I also, anytime I can have a weather forecast that says even by Canadian standards in it, that's a great sentence.
I called the Canadians and I asked to make sure, you know,
even by Canadian standards.
Yeah, viewers don't have to do that either.
We really are calling everyone this evening, Canada and the ski resorts.
Calling them all
landlines too.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Still ahead, big news for Bridgerton fans. Buckle up. And for anyone who's been wanting to watch the show, we have a look at season 2 and its premiere date next in Pop Break.
Plus, a Christmas surprise that will warm your heart. how Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is keeping up his tradition of surprising his mom.
Hi, we are talking all good things in Pop Break today, even though more important things happened. Thank you.
Oh, hey, welcome back, folks. It is now time for your Pop Break.
Yeah, from a big donation for a good cause to excitement over a popular show's new season. I know Mike is very excited for that. Our Kiara Cotton joins us now with more.
Hey, Isabel and Mike, I think you guys will like today's Pop Break. Coming off the holiday, I've got nothing but feel-good stories for us. So, up first, the Duchess of Cambridge has revealed her hidden talent. During a holiday special on Friday, Kate Middleton had her first public piano performance. During the Together at Christmas broadcast, Kate was joined by singer Tom Walker. According to reports, the Duchess learned how to play the piano as a child and has taken great comfort in playing music throughout the pandemic. And keeping with the holiday spirit, fans of the Netflix hit show Bridgerton got an amazing gift over the weekend, a premiere date for season 2. On Saturday, which marked the one-year anniversary of the series, Leda Whistledown herself delivered the news to series leads Jonathan Bailey and Simone Ashley, plus the rest of the cast. The upcoming season focuses on the eldest Bridgerton boy, Anthony, and his quest to find a wife. Bridgerton Season 2 will premiere on the streaming platform March 25th. And JoJo Siwa got the surprise of a lifetime last week. The 18-year-old YouTube star was the guest host on The Ellen Show, and she welcomed singer Meghan Trainor. Trainor, who says she's a fan of Siwa, made a major donation to her childhood cancer foundation. Through the foundation, JoJo helps kids who have been diagnosed with cancer to have a better life, whether that means redoing hospital rooms or taking trips to Disney. The gift came in the sum of $100,000. Siwa said it's her largest donation to date. So that is absolutely amazing. And you know, Isabel and Mike, with there being only 4 days left in 2021, I say we make the most of it and keep the positive vibes going. What do you guys think?
All for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's nice to see, right? Nice little, and Ellen she usually gets to be the one who hands that stuff out.
Yeah.
Must be hard for her to watch that from home, watching people celebrate something like that, right?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure she's having a tough time.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Kiara. Thank you very much.
thing.
Now it's time for your Worth the Watch. And it's an epic Christmas surprise from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to his mother.
Merry Christmas!
Johnson teamed up with his daughters to surprise his mother with a Cadillac. He shared the moment on Instagram, saying, "This one felt good. And this isn't the first time he's gone big on the holiday surprises.
No, it is not. 3 years ago, he surprised her with a new home for Christmas. He said that gift was inspired by a childhood growing up moving from place to place. But with his new gift, she'll be able to go wherever she pleases. Looking good behind the wheel there, too.
Isn't that nice?
That is so nice.
It is. It's funny. The Rock does a bunch of nice things for people like that. And it's rough that people kind of have to wait for The Rock to maybe find out that they have a problem and then come and solve it. But it's good. It's nice for his mom, especially. Merry Christmas.
Is this your message asking The Rock for a little love and support?
Rock, if you get a chance,
there
brother, just pay off my student loans. Thanks, bro.
Merry Christmas. Belated Christmas from The Rock.
Thank you, Rock.
There you go. All right, well, coming up next on What's New at 5:30, the National Guard is in town. We have a look at their arrival to UH Parma.
And Browns' playoff chances, are they still alive? Yes, of course they are. A look at what's going to need to happen to move the Browns' season forward.
And remembering the fun in 2021, it wasn't all doom and gloom this year. We are taking a look back at the happy moments of the past year here at WKYC.
That'll be nice.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Here are 3 things you need to know at 5:30. Governor Mike DeWine promised a few weeks ago the Ohio National Guard would be in Northeast Ohio, helping hospitals cope with the strain of COVID. Earlier today, they arrived, coming to University Hospital's Parma Medical Center. They were fitted with masks and other PPE materials for their deployment.
As for finding COVID-19 tests across the area, our team called about a dozen stores in all parts of town, and we're being told the same thing. Right now, there are none available, and they hope to get in new supplies, but to just keep checking. The only one that seemed to know that their next delivery date might be imminent was the Walgreens in Shaker Heights on Chagrin, saying they expect a shipment on Thursday. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Public Library received more tests today, handing them out to a long line of drivers along East 6th and Rockwell.
The Red Cross is assisting residents of a Maple Heights apartment complex after a fire broke out early this morning, leaving some with no choice but to jump from lower balconies. There were no deaths in the fire, but several people were injured. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Well, thank you so much for being with us on your Monday evening. It's 2 days after Christmas, second day of Kwanzaa. So happy Kwanzaa for everyone out there celebrating.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, I'm Isabel Lawrence.
And I'm Mike Polk. Jay and Betsy have the night off, but we are holding down the fort. And according to social media, which we just checked, we are doing amazing, according to you guys. So thank you for those kind words. And now to today's top talker. It's the nightmare after Christmas. Flight cancellations continue. Today, after more than 6,000 global flights were canceled over the weekend, today alone, more than 2,000 flights around the world put on pause. Airlines blaming bad weather and COVID as staff runs thin, testing positive or quarantined for exposure.
And as COVID cases quickly rise across the U.S., the White House is trying to ramp up testing to match all of this demand. And the CDC is considering new guidance for essential industries. Now, NBC's Chris Pallone has the latest.
Welcome, Mr. President.
President Biden assured the nation's governors his administration is ready for the worst of the Omicron surge.
My message to the governor is simple. If you need something, say something.
But he admits to being caught flat-footed in ramping up testing before the holidays.
But it's not enough. It's clearly not enough. If we'd known, we would have gone harder, quicker if we could have.
In New York City, where new vaccine mandates take effect today, new testing centers are up and running in 2 subway stations. The White House promises 500 million at-home tests will be available by mail next month.
I was looking for the home test and I couldn't find it anywhere.
Some states are setting record highs for new infections, and hospital ICUs, like in Minnesota, are at capacity.
Most days were completely full.
Some data appear to show Omicron cases are more mild, but that's not true for everyone.
I would say the vast majority of people coming into the ICU are those that are unvaccinated.
The nation's airlines blame COVID and bad weather for thousands of flight cancellations in the days leading up to Christmas. Thousands more flights have been canceled today. The CDC is now considering cutting the mandatory isolation time for workers in some key industries who test positive to blunt the Omicron impact.
If they have an essential job, we want to get them back on that job before the 10-day period. And that's what's just being discussed very seriously now by the CDC.
Last week, the CDC cut the time healthcare workers have to isolate after a positive test from 10 days to 7. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Washington.
And we know that when it comes to travel, Evelyn Cleveland here is seeing a number of departure delays right now, too. So tough all the way around here.
It is. And part of the problem with this is, from what I understand, is that the airlines actually encouraged people, some of their employees, to retire early at the beginning of this pandemic when they saw that people weren't going to be traveling for a while. They were like, we wanted to get out in front of this. And now it just came roaring back so much faster than they expected it to. The travel industry, that they're just not prepared. They're caught off guard, and they just don't have enough people right now. And that's obviously screwing up a lot of things for people who are trying to get around.
Yeah, it is. But I like what you said earlier, too. Just everyone, we know it's aggravating. We know it's a headache when you go and your flights are delayed or canceled. But just be nice to everyone working at the airports, your fellow travelers. Everyone's on the same boat here.
It is probably not that person's fault who is working that hourly job at the airport that you are being delayed. So just keep that in mind and aim your anger at the 1%. Sorry, I didn't say that. Never mind. Haha, we're just having some fun around here.
The Mike Show.
Hey, boys, still a chance to make the playoffs, you guys. Is there a way the Browns can make it? You bet there is. We're going to take a look at if it's possible. And by the way, it's inevitable.
Oh, you're very confident.
You're going. I am.
Okay, sure. And plus a year in review. A look back at all of the fun that we have had in 2021 here at WKYC.
What is that?
What is that?
Is that Wyatt?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it looks like a little, anyway.
Look at that weather in a Giphy right there.
I don't know who clipped that up, but you guys ready for your weather in a Giphy?
You bet.
Love it.
However you say it, let's do it. A lot of people with cardboard boxes around from all the gifts. Don't forget the pets, folks.
Nice.
Taking a ride down the steps. That's a great idea, as long as no one gets hurt, of course.
No, yeah.
But right down the steps. That's what our temperatures are going to do as we get into the weekend. We'll talk about it coming up.
We're at Daredevil.
put that camera back up where it was because it's super low. And this is what's clicking in Cleveland today.
Ooh, I love that dress.
Thank you. It's a rental.
You're just jamming.
I'm just jamming.
You were just so involved in the music.
I love the music that brings us back in.
Yeah. All right. Well, Matt, it's your time to shine because Mike is too distracted by the music.
Sorry.
You could have just come into me at the green screen.
Yeah.
That would have been equally as impressive.
I had a good time. I'm glad I was here for it. Matt, what's going on?
For sure. Well, it's a little foggy outside, guys. That fog is really creating kind of a murky scene across the area this evening, but this will clear on out. We've got another system with perhaps some accumulating snow. It'll be brief tomorrow, just in time for that evening rush hour. I know a lot of people off this week, kind of the laid back week, but if you do have travel plans tomorrow evening, something to keep an eye out. First of all, visibility, it's down. We've got it below half a mile. Ravenna, our Worcester sensor there, checking in at 0.8. Notice up towards Port Clinton, some dense fog as well. It's patchy, but it's pretty widespread in terms of the fog, kind of dreary mist that we have going on. A couple heavier showers down towards just areas south of downtown Medina now. We'll see some light rain come and go throughout the evening. Nothing organized, though. Frontal boundary off towards our west. Very fast-moving pattern, so very changeable pattern even by the hour. We've got a little blip of some warmer air that's trying to get in here now. And look at temperatures. 57 right now, Mansfield. Ashland, you've come up a couple degrees. This warm air will continue to slide out towards the east. So if you have evening plans tonight, we've got some pretty mild air in the forecast. Temps actually going to go up next couple hours, and then they'll come back, but nothing compared to what they're dealing with in the northern plains. Boy, there's some real cold air. That's where it is. It's out towards the west. We're not going to get into that anytime soon. We've got kind of a blocking pattern on hand over the course of the eastern half of the U.S. So look at our bump in temps, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. That's our high temperature for the day. We'll come back tonight. We'll be in the 30s tomorrow morning. The fog will start to clear as well. Your National Zymark hour-by-hour forecast brings that frontal boundary through. Perhaps some sun peaks tomorrow morning will be in the 30s. Should have nice visibility as well. And then here comes our next storm system. Clouds will increase. Here comes our precip as we get beyond the lunchtime hour. May start as some rain, could change over to some heavier wet snow for a time, though, as that temperature actually cools throughout the afternoon. This could be heavy in spots, and it could put down a very quick coating, maybe a couple inches. Models have gone a little further south with this, so this is tomorrow afternoon. Think about if you have travel plans, we may have a little period of impacted weather. Good news is temperatures will be above freezing, so as long as the snowfall rate isn't too heavy, the road should be fine, but I do think we'll have some heavier snow with that. Could cause some problems. That moves on out tomorrow evening, very quick pattern. We're done with the system by tomorrow, probably 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. Here's the latest model run. This is picking up on some heavier snow down to the south. I wouldn't go quite this heavy. I think maybe 1, 2, 3 inches of quick slushy snow tomorrow afternoon are possible. Then as we go through time, we'll warm things up again. Thursday, we get all rain in here with the quick system. And then this is the thing I've got my eye on, perhaps a pattern-changing system next weekend. Look at the extent of this. All this rain from Ohio all the way back down towards Texas. This will come in here Saturday, likely as a rain event. We get much colder on the backside Saturday night and Sunday. And we need to keep our eye on the secondary low down to the south. If this tracks north, that would be a snowmaker for us. But definitely a system to watch as we get into New Year's Day and then beyond the first couple weeks of January there. But overall, in terms of snowfall, we're going to keep our eye on that little path right there. Right now, it looks to go to the north. Doesn't look like a big snowmaker for us, but certainly a pattern changer, as is frigid air. It is prevalent in Canada. Finally gets unlocked, not a direct hit, but certainly colder than where we've been. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, 40s the next couple days. Pretty much all rain outside of tomorrow's wet snow event. New Year's Eve looks fine. Maybe some rain moving in. Then Saturday, for the first day of 2022, does look rainy around here. Now we're dealing with much colder temperatures by Sunday and Monday. Mike?
Matt, great. Another great reason not to live in the northern plains.
Yep.
And thank you for, it's always fun to watch you get excited about an encroaching storm front.
Yeah,
it really is.
All week that excitement's just going to continue to head up. So
I know. Well, thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, it's time now to see what is clicking in Cleveland. And for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi there, Isabel, and happy Monday. And I will say it is a very happy Monday because I tend to err on the side of optimism. So I'm glad to share this first story because even after the Browns lost to the Packers on Christmas Day, they can still win the AFC North and get to the playoffs. Here's what we need to happen. The Bengals need to lose their last 2 games. That includes a game to Kansas City and to us. The Steelers need to lose to the Browns. The Steelers also play the Ravens. So Pittsburgh can win there, just as long as the Ravens lose at least one more. So ideally, they lose this week to the Los Angeles Rams, and we just get that out of the way. And with all of that said, I like our chances. Let's see what happens. Life motto right there. Okay, now as we wind down 2021, this week we have our top rankings for the year on WKYC.com. And today we're looking at influencers you need to follow right here from Northeast Ohio. A few of our top picks include Cleveland unofficial photographer Gabe Wasilko, who shares gorgeous photos of the city, activist and comedian Ricky Smith, Bachelorette fan favorite Michael Alio, who right now is highlighting GoFundMe pages for people who have lost loved ones, and America's Got Talent singing sensation Nightbird. Remember, she is from Zanesville. For the full list and links to connect, you can go to WKYC.com. And Chagrin Falls' annual New Year's Eve popcorn ball drop is returning this year after COVID-19 forced the cancellation of last year's event. This year's massive spear of buttery goodness is appropriately named Jupiter, and it is bigger than it's ever been. It's 6 feet wide and weighs more than 250 pounds. That's about 13,500 normal popcorn balls. The Chagrin Falls Popcorn Shop is responsible for this. It's on display outside the store now through Thursday. It goes up on the village's flagpole on Friday. And Isabel, I will apologize to you in advance because I do love a good bad pun. 2 years ago in 2019, that popcorn ball, it was nicknamed Humongous. And I'll give you and Mike a chance right now to guess how much that weighed. What do you think?
Poof, I'm going to say 1,500,000 pounds.
I will go one less zero than that.
These are Price is Right rules, and you are both wrong. It was 233 pounds. That is still a very big popcorn ball.
That's a lot.
Bigger. I know.
That's popcorn's very light. That's the thing. It's, you know, it's
They're
airy.
so small.
Yeah. So thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it. That's an enormous popcorn ball. That better not be last year's popcorn in that thing, just because you didn't drop it. Just so you know. All right. We don't want any stale popcorn dropping on New Year's. Thank you, Chagrin. Thanks, Stephanie. Still ahead. Hey, look at all things fun and heartwarming that happened right on our air at WKYC over the past year. A reminder that there were some good times in 2021, believe it or not, folks.
There were, yeah. And a Christmas miracle, how one couple managed to get a flight home amid all of the COVID cancellations and delays.
Welcome back, folks. We have made it to the last week of 2021, and there is a lot to look forward to in the new year.
That's the right outlook. We're staying positive here. There are also, though, a lot of fun memories from here, our very own WKY studios, that have made 2021 a fun one.
Good evening to you and Happy New Year.
2021 started off with an emotional bang.
And the Cleveland Browns have made it into the NFL playoffs. And the only thing that's missing, all of you.
And even though some of us remained remote because of the pandemic, we still managed to have fun.
From his nap right now, so he's going to help me point towards his system. You see that system, buddy?
I got outside, beat my husband and kids in basketball, and then I taunted them with my best Dikembe Mutombo.
No, no, no!
And bring those special moments into your living rooms.
You're going to be wonderful parents.
You guys.
Wow, you surprised? Okay?
Yeah,
the hormones. See, you still get to blame the hormones. You've got about 6 more months. No, you got like 6 more months of that. So
and the baby's really kicking. I think he really feels this all this love.
Baby DeFranco joins.
Another?
Yep, she's going to be a big sister.
Oh, my goodness. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We shared more special moments as we all returned to the studios from our home studios, where some had been for the majority of the pandemic.
You've been working from home for a long time. Is this your last night at home?
Yes, last show, anchoring from my glorious home studio. There's my husband, Phil.
Hey,
you know, he always has the cocktail ready to go at the end of the show.
And everyone was happy to see one another.
You guys are a red zone away right now.
I was just going to say, I was listening to you, but not really, because I can't believe that we're in the same building. I just yelled across the newsroom, "Hi, Jimmy."
For the first time in 14 months, we are in Studio A together. It is so good to see you, my friend.
It's great to see you. And here we are.
Welcome back to the desk. Your first time back in 1 year?
Since March 2020. All right. I almost forgot what you look like.
Thanks.
We were even able to have some special guests come into town.
Now this is how you start a Monday, with the one and only Al Roker joining us this morning as the Today Show highlights Cleveland and its reopening America series.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, you guys are playing house music. I like that this early in the morning. I like how you have arranged the car for us. Just us. What a guy. This is a little different than we used to do it.
We were so excited to have you coming back to Cleveland. We wanted to do something big. We actually decided to name it after you.
Oh my
That is now the Roker Tower.
Oh, wow.
And we are really excited.
Oh my gosh.
Now, it does act as the lightning rod for the station, so...
Awesome. Well, I'm a lightning rod for the Today Show.
Hey, what am I? Nightly news. Not today. Nightly news. It's a big deal.
Al, you brought the lights back. You kept us out really late. We got lit, kind of.
2, 1.
And throughout it all, the jokes kept rolling, sometimes nonstop.
Look how big I am! Oh my gosh! I'm huge! Look at how small, tiny you are! Oh, you're such cute little Polly Pocket anchors!
Polly
Look at
Pocket.
you!
Thank you. It's real. We're back, baby.
I think he was speaking right to me, B. See if I know my son.
It is. It's $250,000. And I think we should disqualify that answer.
You said midnight tonight.
Midnight tonight.
Right. Well, here's the thing. We're going on at 12:05 tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of the Olympics. So
There we go.
we'll be here.
We will
What
have
a
the
tease.
reveal.
What a tease.
That is
Yes,
a tease.
that's good.
Did I see shoes there?
No.
Oh, well, that's
No.
all you need.
But I do have some nice ones on today, guys. I do. I don't know. You can't see them. But I want, well, maybe Smiler can show it. Yeah, these are nice.
Repeat after me. Big wheels keep on turning, Russ.
Pod Mary, keep on burning. Right?
There you go.
Thank you. To quote Carole King, to totally botch a title, you had a friend, Marissa Signs, until you pulled that one on me. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
This one is one that I like
That's
throw out
yours?
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I've
which
actually,
is like,
I've
you know,
received that from
I
you.
don't know.
Well,
I'm
what are you gonna
confused
do?
by this.
What are you gonna do?
What can you say?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And made sure as we laughed, you at home laughed right along with us.
It is 1,000 degrees out here. But guess what? Bash on the Bay
is back, and that's all that matters, right? As you mentioned, COVID shut it down last year. This year, as you can see, people are rocking, they're partying. This lady's been drinking probably since this morning. Everybody's having a blast out here.
Joining us to anchor from her bike seat, I have to say that's talent.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see how it goes here.
Jimmy, we are 8 miles into our ride.
It's up to you to make sure the Browns are ready.
Hey, when you're silly, when I'm feeling low.
And the news.
That's right. Well, we left Dave in the future. He's touring right now currently, so he's still rocking out.
He's the most interesting man in the world.
Who would have known?
I woke up like this.
Yeah.
Jay, live with us now.
This is a first for me. I have never had a beard shave on live TV.
There it goes. Bye-bye, beard.
It's hard to believe that about a half hour ago I had a full beard, and now I'm back. Oh, it's good to see you.
It's about to happen, guys.
People like you with the beard. They like you without the beard.
I haven't seen it yet because there's not a mirror out there, obviously.
Or cameras in here either.
Oh, well, then you shouldn't tell them about the...
I know, a couple nicks on the side.
Am I okay?
I'm happy The Rock gave him a truck. How do you feel about The Rock giving this gentleman a truck?
Oh, Dwayne.
Okay, well, you're just enamored with The Rock.
No, I know.
So thanks for being along for the ride this year.
Aww.
It was decent of people to stick with us through the year.
Yeah.
And watch all of our shenanigans and whatnot.
There were a lot of shenanigans.
We had some fun.
Yes.
Pretty Al Roker heavy tribute. Can you agree on that?
I mean, what's not to love?
But we laughed a lot.
We did.
You know, in spite of everything terrible that was going on in the world.
I know. I think that's important.
That's all you can do.
Right.
That's all you can do sometimes.
Right. There are a lot of heavy headlines in there, but yes, like you said, thank you for sticking with us here. And, you know, hopefully we brought some smiles to faces too.
Nice,
here and there.
yes, I think we did.
I think so.
You're welcome, everyone. Nice little look back, folks. Coming up, it's your Show Us Something Good. You know the segment, folks. One couple thought they would never make it home for the holidays, but then they saw a social media post, how they were able to beat the flight cancellations.
And later on What Matters Most at 6, the National Guard in Northeast Ohio, an update on what the Guard members will be doing while in the state, and a look at their arrival. Welcome back. Now it is time for our Show Us Something Good. Meet Mike and Mark Patey. They fly search and rescue missions in Utah. But this holiday season, they put their passion into action, helping reunite families for Christmas as flights were canceled across the U.S.
They posted on social media, letting people know that they were ready to help. That's when Brecca and Sergio Ponce found out their flight from L.A. to Utah was no longer happening. Brecca reached out to Mike, and then within a couple of hours, they were picked up and got a VIP flight home for the holidays. That's nice.
Oh,
look at that.
Rolling up in style.
Absolutely. Hard to bounce back from that once you've flown that way, I'd imagine.
You'll never fly commercial again.
No, absolutely. But that's a very nice way to end this show, I think, in my opinion. You guys have been wonderful. Thanks for watching What's New.
Yeah, thank you for keeping us all laughing here.
Hey, that's what we're here for. And I think we did an all right job as the B team, right?
Yeah.
Here we are, filling in. Jay and Betsy, hope you're having a nice time.
Socially distanced elbow bump.
Boom, boom. How are you on?
Did all right. All right, well, you gonna do leftovers after this? What are you doing?
I'm all over it. Yeah, gonna go home and grab some ham.
All righty, looking forward to that. Well, stay with us, though. We do have more news. What Matters Most starts right now.
Testing and boosting, two very hard things to do right now as COVID-19 continues to rapidly spread across Northeast Ohio. We'll break down where the test kits are and how to quickly schedule a booster. Here to help. As promised, the National Guard arrived in Cleveland today to relieve some of the COVID stress off of local hospitals. And collapse cleanup. What we've learned about the parking garage collapse in Lakewood and why residents have a reason to be upset over the damage.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
Good evening, and thanks for being with us. I'm Isabel Lawrence. Russ and Laura have the evening off. Tonight, on this final week of 2021, we are still coping with the COVID pandemic and the explosion of new cases. From testing and the frustration of test kit shortages to scheduling a vaccine or booster shot, it can be a waiting game for both as the Omicron variant infects thousands more across Northeast Ohio. And new tonight, the CDC has just cut isolation restrictions for Americans who test positive for COVID and shortening the time that close contacts have to quarantine. The CDC saying people with the virus can leave isolation after 5 days, down from 10. People exposed to the virus can also leave quarantine after 5 days. And here's the new daily case numbers for today. The Department of Health reporting just over 8,000 new cases of COVID in Ohio in the last 24 hours. That's down considerably from a peak of 14,000 plus cases in one day last Friday. Now, Governor Mike DeWine promising a few weeks ago the Ohio National Guard would be in Northeast Ohio, helping hospitals cope with the strain of COVID. Lydia Esparra joins us now live in Parma, where the Guard arrived earlier today. Lydia.
Oh, yes, it's a gift, a belated Christmas gift. And for the folks here at University Hospital Parma, it couldn't have happened soon enough.
Governor Mike DeWine called for 1,050 National Guardsmen to help with this newest COVID surge. Parma University hospitals received 10 guardsmen, although more will be going to 4 other locations. The guardsmen will be changing beds, cleaning rooms, transporting patients, and basically being another set of hands, especially since a lot of UH staff is also sick with the coronavirus. UH Parma, like other hospitals, are keeping patients in the ER until a bed opens up.
We are told that they should be with us for a couple of weeks, and so we're very, very grateful for that. I mean, this is certainly the hardest time we've had throughout this entire pandemic, with our inpatient hospital census about double what it's been at any other peak in the pandemic, on top of hundreds of caregivers who are sidelined with COVID right now.
That is for sure. The caregivers, the nurses, everyone here at the hospital, everybody is impacted by this latest surge. So to give you some hard numbers here, about 1,000 nurses, caregivers, doctors here at UH, all corporate wide, are out sick with COVID. That's why they needed the National Guard. All right, back to you, Isabel.
Yeah, that timing could not come soon enough. Thank you so much for that update, Lydia. Well, Northeast Ohio has been no stranger to long COVID testing lines and struggles to find a kit to take home. Emma Henderson has the state of local testing and what our hospitals are currently seeing.
Cars snake through downtown Cleveland as word gets out that the public library is restocked with COVID-19 tests. Library workers hand the small boxes through the windows before quickly moving on to the next eager visitor. It's very different than the sight in local pharmacies. We called a dozen locations across the Cleveland area, and only one knew for sure they'd be getting a restock this week.
Without that testing available, it'll put us clear back to December of 20, when we had very little testing available, and it made it very hard to control the disease.
300 people will be tested in Summit County tomorrow, with their website saying no more appointments are available.
So we're hopeful that it will relieve some of the stress of people trying to get tested, particularly for if you're sick, for disease control, or if you're in a work situation.
And while those on the outside test themselves following holiday get-togethers, inside the hospital, many are being sidelined.
It's definitely, it's hundreds in the UH system.
So hundreds of healthcare workers are being sidelined by positive COVID tests right now.
Yes.
This at a time where more hands are needed, not less.
We're seeing total numbers of COVID patients in our hospitals more than double where it's been at any other time in a peak during the pandemic for us.
Now, Dr. Strosaker says that these issues are being compounded by the fact that they were already facing a staff shortage before they had so many of their employees testing positive. Isabel?
All right, a lot of factors at play here, Emma. Thank you so much. Well, Omicron also causing a spike in demand for COVID vaccines in recent weeks. As more Americans become eligible for booster shots, shortages are popping up in cities all over the nation. So why do other vaccine sites have plenty of booster doses to dole out? Our January Keaton gets to the bottom of it.
According to the CDC, this past Thursday marked the highest single-day vaccination total in the U.S. since May, with over 2 million doses given out. The entire week total, 22% higher than the week before.
It's been going well. We've been seeing an increase in people coming in to get vaccinations, to get boosters, things of that nature.
The Biden administration urging eligible Americans to get booster shots to protect against the highly transmissible Omicron variant. But that is creating a surge in demand, leaving many folks struggling to find a booster site.
Never is supply an issue, but oftentimes it boils down to demand in a particular area. And in some locations, you might have the ability to schedule an appointment today, and others you might have to wait for us to send you a notification.
The increased demand for boosters also driven by clearer, more concerted messaging coming from public health agencies, stressing the need to be boosted amid Omicron. So when shortages occur,
that's when we look to other measures, such as workplace clinics, working with schools, working with local church groups, whoever it may be.
The best advice? Check the website of your booster location of choice frequently. They may be out of boosters 1 minute, but have some the next. Also, be willing to travel a little further than your comfort zone to get a booster shot. And above all, be patient with vaccination and booster sites. They may be overwhelmed.
Our clinics have been packed lately with people getting boosters and their first and second doses. Just help us reduce the strain in the hospitals as they are seeing that strain during this holiday season.
Now, Geauga Public Health is trying to combat booster shortages by having a booster clinic. Now, if you're an adult, you can walk in, no appointment necessary. That's Monday through Friday from 9 to 3:30. If you're a child, ages 11 and under, you can walk in. That's 1 to 4 Monday and Friday. And again, that's Geauga Public Health. I put all this information on our website, WKYC.com. In Cleveland, January Keaton, 3 News.
All right, thank you, January. Tonight, a follow-up on the investigation into what caused a Lakewood parking garage to collapse last week. The damage extensive and cleanup still underway today. Mark Namick has this update.
That no one was injured in Thursday's mid-morning collapse, considered a Christmas miracle. Residents of the adjacent high-rise, Marine Towers West on the city's Gold Coast, were temporarily forced to leave but returned on Christmas Eve. A couple dozen cars either crushed or trapped inside.
It's a fairly sizable collapse. It's a pancake collapse. So the second floor deck collapsed onto the first floor deck, and subsequently sections of that also came down. So it's substantial.
Today, piles of rubble remain, the street open, and life returning to some normalcy. Though residents were not allowed to retrieve their cars, the building's management drove several out through a neighboring garage. The city has confirmed earlier reports from residents that construction was taking place inside the garage prior to the collapse, though the city has no permits for the work or details about it. 3 News reached out to the management company.
Thank you for calling Burton Carroll Management.
But no one was available to answer questions about the collapse or possible related construction.
Joy is on site right now.
Okay.
Lakewood Mayor Megan George told me this evening that the garage has been condemned and that the cars were only allowed to be moved under the supervision of structural engineers. She also confirmed what residents have said, that construction was taking place at the site without a permit, and that is the subject of the city's investigation. Isabel?
Yeah, something we'll definitely be looking into here in the coming days. Thank you, Mark. Well, still to come, what the Browns need to happen next to make sure they can get into postseason play. The voice of the Browns, Jimmy Donovan, will join us. And a look back at the year that was and some of the top news stories of 2021.
What Matters Most is sponsored by the Calvetta Brothers Floor Show. It's time to fall in love again with your home.
As we look forward to a new year, we are also reflecting on some of the biggest stories to hit headlines this year. Russ Mitchell takes us back to the start of 2021, looking at the stories making an impact nationally and right here in Northeast Ohio.
2021, a year full of ups.
He's going! He's going! He's gone! Nick Chubb is in! Touchdown! They will beat the Steelers in the opening round of the playoffs.
And downs.
The problem is